Welcome to Thursday, June 9th, 2022, your Day Weather Podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Cowboy State Daily has more original Wyoming news content than any other news organization in the state. Cowboy State Daily, sign up for their daily newsletter and check them out on their Facebook page. Well, the heat is on. Here's a throwback from the 80s for you. So for those of you who know who that is singing that song and where that song is from, but the song will be very apropos for what will happen in the West over the next 4 to 5 days as the hottest air of the season's moving in. We're going to have a few late day thunderstorms today and again on Sunday, and some are going to be severe. We'll show you where. Now, after this big warm up, there's going to be a pretty good cool down early next week. And at the end of the podcast, I'm going to talk about the North American monsoon. Even though for the Central Rockies, the monsoon doesn't usually come until the middle of July, it's showing signs of forming in Mexico and eventually Arizona and New Mexico in the coming weeks. And we'll talk about what drives the monsoon and whether or not there are clues of the monsoon season being a good one or bad one, because in some parts of the West, the North American monsoon is absolutely critical in terms of bringing summer precipitation to many areas of the southwestern United States and parts of the Rockies. First of all, there is a risk today for some thunderstorms. While the thunderstorm risk will be highest down here where the severe weather threat is highest, do expect a couple of late day showers and thunderstorms in some areas today. And here's the area where there is some risk for severe weather, further off the Front Range and into the Central Plains area. High pressure builds in strongly. This is by noon Saturday. Clockwise flow around that high brings heat right out of the deserts of California and Mexico, and it's just going to be a pipeline of heat coming on in Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday and Monday in many areas. Look at these temperatures. These are the forecasted high temperatures. I'm going to step you through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So the number you see is the forecasted high temperature. Look at those temperatures across the Central Valley of California, across southern Arizona, and look at the heat in Texas. So Saturday, this is Sunday, 90s getting all the way into central Wyoming here. And then by Monday, we start to see some blue up here. And this is because of that cold front. But all the way up through Monday, the heat goes all the way up the Front Range of Colorado, gets a bit further east out into the plains, and continues here in the desert southwest. But this trough coming on in is going to bring a big swing to the other direction with temperatures by early next week. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And here it is. This is by Tuesday morning. A low over Alberta and Saskatchewan dragging a cold front through. This will produce showers and thunderstorms and bring down temperatures significantly. And like a broom, it's going to push the heat out of the west and bring the heat, the warmth, to the central and eastern United States. So the whole country, starting in the west, will feel some summer heat this weekend, shifting to the other side of the country by the middle of next week. Thunderstorms are going to start to develop ahead of the front. This is for Sunday afternoon and evening. Kind of keep an eye on Sunday. We may have some severe weather here Sunday afternoon and evening, something that we're going to keep an eye on. These are the forecasted high temperatures by Tuesday. So here's the boundary of the heat right here. It gets pushed south. Look at the high temperatures in the northern Rockies. These are the forecasted high temperatures for Tuesday. 40s and 50s in Montana, 50s and 60s in Wyoming, and cooling off along the Front Range of Colorado. But the heat will hang on for a little bit longer here before getting pushed off to the east. Look at these temperatures relative to average by Tuesday afternoon. So the pendulum is going to swing back and forth, although I think the pendulum swinging is going to start to ease after this front. After this front early next week, I think we're going to start to see summer get established. And I showed you this map yesterday. The highest elevations, Monday night and Tuesday of the west, could get dusted with a little bit of snow. Now by next weekend, this is by next Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 19th. Now this is a classic pattern showing early summer wanting to get started. Yep, there's another low here wanting to come into the Pacific Northwest. But this high is going to basically suppress this low from making too far of progress eastward. So what will happen is this is the summer high that gets established. So by next weekend, I think we can say that we're into summer and any spring patterns are likely not going to return. Now this is going to bring in the heat. So temperatures are going to go right back up again by the middle to the end of next week. But also, in addition to heat, there's going to be higher humidity air being brought in. So with the warmer temperatures late next week and next weekend, I think there's going to be some thunderstorm activity and getting into areas along and west of the Continental Divide. Now, I want to talk about the North American monsoon. So the forecast portion of the podcast is done. So if you want to learn more about the monsoon pattern, you can come back and watch this video later. But a couple of things to show you about what happens with the monsoon season that brings us the afternoon and evening thunderstorm pattern during the summer season. It first starts in Mexico and works its way northerly into the southern areas of the United States, the southern and desert Southwest, then the central and southern Rockies, then the northern extent of it gets as far north as Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota, and southern Montana at times. But notice the subtropical high here formation, and I just showed you a map where the high was going to be building in the central United States, and then you get this upper level low that just kind of hangs off the west coast. The clockwise spin around this high, the counterclockwise spin around these lows work together to drive higher humidity air into the high plains and Rockies as the summer progresses. The jet stream also starts to go more north this time of year, and we're going to see that late next week. That allows this moisture to travel further north into the region. You take that, you mix it with daytime heating and also the mountain terrain, and you're going to get the North American monsoon getting going. And if we were to drive down and take a look at how important this is a map that shows the percent of annual rainfall that occurs during the North American monsoon season. So if you were to look, you've got Mexico, parts of New Mexico and Arizona here, and into the deserts of California. This blue area here, you're basically looking at your half of your annual average precipitation comes from the North American monsoon. And you can see that the green gets all the way further north here to where some of the annual precipitation is due to this natural flow of high humidity air from the lower latitudes moving north. Now, what drives it? Well, it's very interesting. There's been a lot of research lately on the North American monsoon. It's a combination of geography, the ocean, sea surface temperatures, and also topography. Now, this is a very idealized and exaggerated view of topography, but what it does is it shows you a couple of things I want to point out. The Sierra Madre, the higher mountains of Mexico, exaggerated here, but these connect to the Rocky Mountains. The Gulf of California, right here, and the Gulf of Mexico right here are the big producers of the water that ends up helping to bring the North American monsoon. So the Gulf of Mexico, there's a natural flow of air from the Gulf of Mexico into the eastern side of New Mexico that rises into the higher terrain. There's also a transport of higher humidity air from the Gulf of California into the Sierra Madre of Mexico. And the combination of this terrain and moisture coming from the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico helps transport this moisture eventually northward in this pattern here. And it's a combination of the terrain and the combination of the water vapor coming off the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf of California. So what we have to do now is take a look at the terrain of Mexico. So you can see the lowlands here and the lower elevations here. But the natural transport of higher humidity air from here basically gets pushed. They kind of work together to push that moisture over the Sierra Madre of Mexico. And then if you were to hook that up with the United States into the Rockies, that moisture wants to be basically funneled along the divide, both sides of the divide, along the mountains. So it's a combination of where we are with the water and where we are with the topography. Then you add the heat of the summer, the rising air that happens during the heat of the day, and you're going to get thunderstorms. Now let's talk about sea surface temperatures. In this podcast, we talk about sea surface temperatures all the time. What drives a lot of our weather is basically due to what the ocean temperatures are doing, especially during the cold seasons and the spring seasons. But there's been some recent research that says that when water temperatures reach a certain level in the Gulf of California and in the Gulf of Mexico, that is when we start to see the North American monsoon get started. So the magical number in the Gulf of California is 79 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. And when the northern part of the Gulf of California hits 84 degrees or 29 degrees Celsius, that's when you tend to have the more intense monsoon seasons. So like we talk about with El Nino and La Nina, sea surface temperatures are critical and how strong the North American monsoon is going to be. Now, I want to rewind a little bit. The monsoon of 2020 was awful. Cold sea surface temperatures in the northern Gulf of California really negated the monsoon season of 2020. This is one reason why the bad monsoon of 2020 on top of the La Nina has made the drought in the West so bad. Now, the monsoon season of 2021 was actually much better. So if we can have a decent monsoon in 2022, that will help with the drought situation. But we kind of had a combination of La Nina, a 2.5-year La Nina, with a really bad monsoon season in 2020, exacerbating things. So when you take a look at the data, the studies, it shows this is the temperature curve with the amount of precipitation. So the correlation here is really strong of the monsoon precipitation beginning when sea surface temperatures reach 26 degrees Celsius, and then once they hit 29 Celsius or more, look at the rainfall totals. This is for the Arizona, New Mexico region where the study was put together. So let's take a look. What's happening right now in the Gulf of California? This is as of June 7th, so this was a couple of days ago. You can see we do have 26 degrees or more in the Gulf of California right here and also right here. Now, we're still a little bit on the cool side here. So this area's got to warm up some more to help with the monsoon a little bit more. So what we're seeing are the very beginnings of the monsoon moisture flow coming up into Mexico and the desert Southwest. And I bring this up now so we have a good handle on it when we talk about it here in the coming weeks, because I do think we're going to actually start to see some of this moisture get entrained around that big high in the central United States by the second half of June into early July in parts of the West. Have yourself a very good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.